host Nate Jennings is going to do a comparison between the RnineT Racer from BMW, the new 2017, and a Thruxton 1200 built very similarly. This is for you, Eduardo. Thanks for the request. So in comparing the two motorcycles, 110 horsepower, 85 foot-pounds of torque, 97 horsepower, 82.5 foot-pounds of torque. About the same weight in that 480s category, but we have a different fuel capacity. 4.5 gallons to 3.7 gallons. And you can feel that in some of the other videos I'm talking about, the width of the tank. It keeps that real narrow presentation and that classic vintage look, but does sacrifice a gallon of fuel. It is our cafe racer. We might not be going for the long haul of taking this on these long distance trips and just ripping around the city. It's perfect, light, flippable. Comparison wise, parallel twin. So it is a 2-cylinder with a good linear power delivery. Our boxer twin, so that typically carries its weight a little lower and has a little lower center of gravity. This machine comes as you see it. We're set up with a cowl on the front. We have clip-ons. We have a seat cowl already on the back of the motorcycle. Where the Thruxton, we had to add this $1,250 accessory, which mandated that we went to the clip-ons to accommodate the cowl. So it gave us a very, very similar platform, even to the extent that we have conventional fork legs on both machines, floating calipers. So I'm not running an R with inverted shows and Ohling's rear with Brembos. We're running very compatible equipment. Both of them on laced wheels. Actually, no, we're running a Meg wheel on that racer today, spoke wheels. So there's options on the BMW Racer, which wheel you're gonna get. So we're gonna go and do a little ride comparison and do some on-the-bike footage between the two of them and give us a shootout between these guys. Instrumentation-wise, there's just a smidget more information that you get in the screen with the BMW, which is our fuel meters. We don't have much fuel gauge metering over here. It has consumption average, but it doesn't have a lot of other goodies. So a little inferior in the technology, but it does have ride-by-wire and mode selection. So that's one advantage that we have over here with a rain, sport mode, and a road mode. 3 different modes to manipulate. And this is what it is, a badass BMW. So let's do a little quick walk around of these motorcycles real fast. And we are gonna have our BMW RnineT Racer. We talked about, we got Brembos, but they are floating. They're not radially mounted. We have still braided lines like the Thruxton. We have conventional fork legs, and we have factory clip-ons with twin clocks for that classic look. We have the lovely motor rod paint scheme that we do get the additional seat cowl with, and that comes with a little storage pocket. We can pull that seat pad forward and we have a little bit of storage space underneath there. A big difference is our shaft drive assembly compared to our chain drive assembly over here. Boxer power plant, still a big thumping twin, air oil cooled, to a water cooled 1200 twin parallel style. So some differences in that as well, but very similar with LED brake lights, longer reach to the bars with long, narrow classic style tanks, even more retro with the Thruxton as we have the fuel cap with a lockable. So let's get out there and ride the Thruxton 1200 with the cowl and clip-ons added to it. Compare that with our 2017 BMW RnineT Racer. So let's go have some fun. Let's ride this puppy. We're going to start out with the Thruxton 1200. A little idea of the tone and what she's going to sound like cruising down the road. We're going to go up, hit some urban, then we're going to go through a little twisty mountain section. I'll be back, pick up your bike, and start over again. Alright, so we just left the shop, gonna hit the urban environment. You instantaneously realize the length of the motorcycle for your shorter people with shorter arm reach. But it feels just like a Daytona sport bike, you know? It's got that type of presentation on the upper. It has that really aggressive stance that you'd expect from a super sport style motorcycle. It's not uncomfortable at all. It is a lot different than a 1200 without the clip-on kit and the cowling kit, though. I'll tell you that much. It is a lot different in that regard. Just cruising through. It has good throttle response for the ride-by-wire. It doesn't really have any low RPM notchy, or it doesn't have any lag in the throttle response. The 6-speed transmission, you can get pretty damn good fuel economy. If I scroll through some of my meters, I think I've been averaging in the range of 46.5 with some decent riding style going on. I'll just put it that way. One of the things we like to check is commuter friendliness. Is this bike going to be super hot? Is this machine going to be emitting a lot of residual heat onto us? I think honestly that's where the BMW is going to excel, with that Boxer twin being air oil cooled. It's exposed and always keeping itself nice and cool. This is a more high strung twin that's going to have less horsepower, but it's a water cooled system. So, to save you the time of having to watch this urban environment the whole time, I'm probably going to cut the camera off as I go through the lights, and I'll come back when I hit some nice little area to hit some twisties. So I got through all the stoplights and the back and forth through that region. About to hit a little residential area that'll take us out some nice little twisties to get a feel for the characteristics on its left. Transitioning to its right, all the fun part of motorcycling. I can probably show a little traction control demonstration up here too. It's usually smooth on the Triumphs. Let's see how it is, man. The BMW with that Boxer so torquey, a lot of times likes to almost feel like it's overriding our traction control. So if we give this guy a little bit of space and we romp on it really hard, it's going to want to keep our wheels on the ground. Let's try it. See traction control kicking in for you right there, wanting to kick out the rear, but it didn't give you a really boom jarring effect on it. Coming up from 3,500 RPM, she's still strong. A lot of motorcyclists out enjoying the atmosphere today. I feel just racy as hell, like I want to go to the track on this machine now. Easy to get off with a low clip-ons and move around on the bike, and feels just nostalgic as it can get with that upper cowling on there. Gotta remember to turn my non-self-canceling turn signals off though. So transmission, it's smooth. Triumph always has a smooth transmission in my opinion, but it could be smoother. You know, when you're trying to compare it to a super sport style motorcycle, those inline 3-cylinders, you've got something going with a butter smooth transmission. So Pirelli Angel GTs, a really confident tire for me. I like those a lot. Suspension's talking to you a bit. Oh man, I can see my problem already. Encountering traffic right into nasties. Yep. I might have to do something silly. Don't do this at home, guys. Throttle response is freaking amazing. Brakes, good. The bike feels like it wants to transition so smooth underneath you and perform like it should with a set of 17-inch rims on it. You don't really feel a lot of extra rotating mass in the spoke. Got that extra torque to motor it through. Make sure I'm careful out here. You never know what motorcycle is trying to do the same thing the opposite direction but not staying in his lane. So hell yeah, I could go out and drag any on the track with this beast, man. It's really been on my mind lately, especially since Jeff picked up that racer that I'm going to ride in a second. Traction control is going to keep my front end down. I wanted to play with, see the really happiness of this machine like we always want to test out on our bikes. See how they're going to sit on the back wheel. And I'm in road mode. So let's switch that over to sport real quick. Just give it a second. Now we're in sport mode. Minimized our ABS and traction control. Sped up our
throttle response coming out of the hole. I'm keeping it mostly in that 3 range. Trying to drive in, look at the tach, is it working? You ride the field. So now we're going to get into really tight twisties and see how the transition is. High-speed sweepers are going to be stable, I know that on this beast. Get all the way down, hit some 10-mile-an-hour corners up here. You can feel the rear wanting to step out. But traction control keeping us aligned. When it hits the next gear, it catches the next gear. It's more abrupt. I gotta get smoother on the clutch somehow. Probably gonna turn around at the top of this. I can't be gone too long. I'm supposed to meet some appointments here in a little bit. Plus the back side of this hill, super gnarly and gravelly. God dang. I could do with a little bit better brakes. Obviously, we love brakes, man. Brakes are our money maker. So, we'll pull around the homeboy's driveway real quick. And go down the mountain. That's where we're going to check more of our brake action out. The torque and the smoothness, the power delivery. It's a well-rounded motor, man. If you got 97 horsepower, 82.5 foot-pounds of torque, where the Beamer has a little bit more torque, but a lot more horsepower, stepping up 13 more horsepower to 110. And I got to give you guys the vision of what luxurious environment we live in. Watch out for the downhill gravels. But look at this amazing view here. Ah, it's awesome. Gonna be a little bit more cautious on the downhill. Testing out those brakes. See if it gives us any wibble wobble. That transition. Smooth on the transmission there. ABS kicked in on me a little bit. I think. Either that or I hit a little soft spot. I'm in sport mode, so you don't think the ABS will kick in that quickly. But now we're going downhill, putting all the weight on that front. Yeah, I like the Thruxton. Took it all the way down the first just to see if the step in out of the rear end would happen. Very minuscule. Our last left corner out of here. We'll get a little speed and do the same thing again. Brakes are just the only thing I'm really wanting more from this bike. You know, if I'm making it my track warrior, I'm definitely going to need a more advanced braking system. Power response is fast and crisp, transmission smooth for what's supposed to be a vintage style motorcycle. The comfort is amazing to reach the bars. I've got short arms, you guys know that. I have to have special leathers made for my short little forearms. Bike likes to wiggle around underneath of you in a good way. So the only disadvantage to the Thruxton 1200 so far, spec-wise, a little less horsepower, a little less fuel capacity. Am I going to make this bike built in this configuration while on distance tour? Hell no, it's going to be my straight up cafe racer around town. I'm going to be blasting through the urban environment, stopping to get gas and show off my motorcycle and tell everybody how awesome Triumph is. So, that's our Thruxton. I'm liking everything about it. instrumentation has that really classic look where you're going to see the BMW going modern this year with even the controls on the buttons. The controls on the buttons. Oh man, buttons on the control. Sorry, I get jacked up ride motorcycles. You know that. Everybody does. So we're going to go back. And we're going to pick up that RnineT. We're going to do the same thing, hit the same course, and see what differences we feel. One thing I already know is that I'm going to enjoy the plantedness of the tires with these Pirellis over what we're going to be finding on the BMW RnineT. So let's go show you what we got there, guys. And I'm actually going to turn it back on because I did notice some of my other complaints. The mirrors. Bar mirrors are beautiful, they're sexy, but I haven't had a set of Triumph freaking mirrors that have worked for me. They all blow out of proportion. I got a little bit of arm pump, you know, I got a little bit of pain in my hands, and I think that's just from white knuckling this machine a little bit. Mostly it's usually the pilot's fault when they have that, but it might just be that I'm putting the Thruxton to its paces. Don't want to put down somebody else's motorcycle. That's for sure. But a little bit of hand cramping, a little bit of arm pump, a little bit of mirror deflection. But overall, smooth, tracks well. It's a fancy little motorcycle. And the tone. You know how many people just hear the bike coming, or I pull up next to them, the stoplight? Dude, I love Triumphs. It's instantaneously known that this is a Triumph. They're not looking at the badges and logos on the tank. They're just realizing that old school classic look that they remember from their time frame in the 40s, 50s, 60s, running these cafe racers. There goes Rico, leaving on his GS. It doesn't have a hiccup anywhere in the throttle input either. It doesn't have a chug anywhere, which is something I'm going to look for on the BMW. This Boxer sometimes might have a little chug in it. They usually have a little bit less response and a super quick whack of the throttle on the bottom end, but hopefully all that's been cleaned out in the last 10 years since we were experiencing those kind of issues. Hell, should have stayed in that lane. Forgot, I'm in Roanoke. Backwards lanes.
Done with the Thruxton, now it's time for the BMW RnineT racer. So what do you, let's take this beast down. Yeah, this actually is a big thing. You can instantaneously feel the further reach to the bars, giving it a little bit more aggressive feeling, and the width of the screens. The first thing I noticed, the girth of the tank. So let's go feel the torque. Let's feel the power. We're gonna have a little difference in tone on this one from the factory because we already upgraded our muffler to an improper. Completely different characteristic in tone. We still have that quirky BMW sound that we all love. So, I'm gonna get my gloves as we warm this up. Ready to take off. So just initial takeoff, it felt a lot more docile, and you can feel under the downshifting the torque of the shaft drive working for us on the parallel lever, more or less working against us. It's a funky feel. I don't know how old Nate Kerr gets out there and races that RnineT as aggressively as he does. I think it helps him step that rear end out a little bit, help him break a little traction. But just the initial launch, BMWs traditionally feel super tight for an extremely long time.
So it's not fully broken in yet, obviously. It's going to feel really tight, but you should still get a good presentation. We're going over to a hydraulic clutch, which is a little bit more precise, a little bit more modern looking controls and instrumentation. Got all kinds of people not being able to drive around this, dude. It's a really wide reach to the bars. You feel more flat, where there's more sweep to the Thruxton. Saddle is a little firmer, but I don't mind a firmer saddle. It gives a little bit more of a flat feel to it, a little more surface area, not like you're soaking into it. I just really feel like I'm reaching for the bars with my short arms. Can't get my elbows really bent that much, but dang, the tank is right. The right width to give you a good feel for where the tank is at. I do need to put some tank pads on the old Thruxton because widen that up a little bit and give us something good to grab onto. Not as thrumpy as the Thruxton. You can hear the rear wheel hopping and skipping there as I'm downshifting because of the shaft drive, so it takes it to a little bit less performance oriented. Sounds a little bit bigger. But what we gotta find out is how she does in them twisties. We did change our tires. What did I put? Did I have Bridgestones or Metzlers on here? Didn't even look. That's alright. We'll look when we get back. That's one thing that I have a mental block on is other manufacturers. I love Pirelli, and that's what I always run on my machines unless it's an off-road bike or something out of the ordinary. So, traffic, short body people, a little bit more stressed. Feel it in the middle of my shoulder blades. But the instrumentation, check this out, man. I got a trip meter 1, trip 2, I've got a trip A, engine temperature. I don't have that on the Thruxton. I got my timepiece. On the other side, consumption average, instantaneous fuel economy, average speed. I've got my voltage even, my ride time. I have a date, consumption averages again. Man, we are set with lots of good information on this motorcycle. I'm not going to have a problem with the mirrors. It has stem mirrors, which are going to be something I can collapse and fold in and reduce the size of the bike and fit it into more territories. It's going to be something that's going to not blow back on me. Oh, Brimbos. Yeah, baby. So we fixed our braking problem. I can't wait forever and let anybody in front of me. I'll never get up that mountain. So check that out. We rev a bit higher on this boxer than we do that twin. I don't think I'm going to have traction control issues. Let's try. Actually, it's really smooth, dude. Usually boxers jump on you and then once the traction control kick in, it slams you back down. This one actually was extremely smooth on a little hard acceleration. But we don't have mode, man. This is what it is. I can't change it around. Like earlier, I went from road mode out on the street, started to get to the mountains, I hit sport mode. I like the foot peg feel. It's all right. Doesn't have a super wide presentation or anything to it. I don't. We're getting around on the motorcycle feel. It's about the same. You're supposed to have a lot lower center of gravity feel with this boxer power plant. Have to be a little less aggressive than Jeff's bike. Because I don't think he's ridden it yet. Now the downshifting, it's a nice feel. I like having that, like, oh damn dude, we're downshifting. But it's also upsetting you a little bit. But now that I'm in the mountains, I'm moving around on the motorcycle, it's a lot more confident feeling. I'm getting my body in the right position. Get some elbow benditure in here. The brakes though. Yeah, baby. The brakes haven't even fully been seated in yet, but it's got freaking good brakes. Even in the middle of a corner, it didn't like upset me too much, trying to do some excessive trail braking there. A little less consistent on the throttle at that point. Something's mentally blocking me on the bike a bit. I'm not going to carry the same speeds as I am on that Thruxton. That's unfortunate. Please turn. Thank you, sir. So now let's transition left to right. I don't know if it's the shaft guide, the tires are sticking decently. The Triumph actually wanted to break loose a little easier than the BMW does. It feels a little bit more firmly planted, and there's that low center gravity again. Riding is hard. The bike just wants to flop left to right so fast with the boxer. I love it. So we hit the tighter twisties. A little downshifting going on. Said I gotta go a little easier. It's Jeff's machine, especially as we go all the way around. We don't want to scrape any cylinder heads on these guys. That's the one thing that can hit your brain bank, is that, whoa, I am leaning right into a cylinder head. But I shouldn't be dragging that unless I'm freaking dragging myself down the ground. It transitions nicely. I always stop right here and look. Life's good. Gotta watch out for this gravel on the way down. A lot of gravels in that one. God, it feels really confident right there. I think the power delivery is softer. The Thruxton seems to be a little bit more agile. So this is smoother. This is gonna be more compliant. It's gonna make a little bit more potentially conservative rider feel better. Sorry for using your driveway up today, guys, but we gotta get back up the mountain. We went from a wet clutch on the Thruxton to dry clutch on the Racer, going from the back to the air oil cools, 110 horsepower power plant. God dang, it does feel super strong though. It's strong, but it's not portraying it as untamed power. It feels manicured all the time. Brakes are awesome. Get back on my Brembos. So I was going to say a Thruxton R's in the future if we're going to be looking at something for playing on the track. Down this hill, you can hear it hopping. Unfortunately, I don't feel as confident on the Beamer though. There's something about it that doesn't talk to me the same way. I'm getting the braking that I want now. I've got awesome torque, smooth power delivery, great tone. This is the gentleman's bike, and that's usually what it is. BMW makes the gentleman's motorcycle, where the Thruxton is going to be the wild child of the family. And that's a perfect comparison between the two of them. I'd like to take them both out on the track and get a really smooth, consistent run on both of them. I think that would be hella fun. Heat, I don't think heat's going to be an issue. This is going to be something that, when I'm in an urban environment, I'm not going to get a lot of residual heat off the bike. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm about to get into some traffic situations again. I didn't feel anything earlier. Of course, the engine was not maybe completely heated up either. Awesome transition, and it feels really freaking planted, where the Triumph felt a little bit looser on you, but it felt more confident for some reason to me. I don't know if it's the riding position, if it's the tires, if it's I'm on Jeff's baby. Oh, major deja vu moment right here. Something's gonna happen to me when I hit this. A apartment complexes up here in a second. I don't know what it is. We're gonna find out. I can't remember the whole deja vu. I think I'm just going faster than I think I am. I'm forcing the bike around and not getting off the bike because I don't think I'm going that fast because the bike is that freaking smooth. Yeah, man. But that shaft drive right there, I bet you that's it. That shaft drive is getting to me. So residential, slow down a little bit. So we got a good comparison between the two now. I think I like the presentation of the Thruxton, just more vintage, classic looking. I like that we have a seat cowl that's already added with a little bit of storage on the BMW here. I like the stem mirrors instead of the bar end mirrors on the BMW. I like the very loose filling of the chain drive over the shaft drive on the Thruxton. I mean, just even those slower stops, usually you don't feel it unless you're really aggressively getting down on this thing. Try to play a no footsies game. Instrumentation's pretty parallel, except for the BMW has a lot more information to finagle with. The Thruxton does retain a little bit more heat than the BMW does. I have the same amount of pressure on my hands as I did there, so it's just me white knuckling these motorcycles and being in an aggressive super sport stance, trying to go downhill on heavy braking and checking out those brakes. The Brembo brakes are definitely superior on the BMW over the Thruxtons. The suspension's a lot more compliant. I think that it's a little rough and rigid on the Thruxton there. We have more of my character on the Thruxton, and this is definitely Jeff's character with a boxer. The Jeff I'm referring to, you know him from our track days, is our track daddy. My senior citizen track rider. Just to give you a little reference of why he might like this bike over the Thruxton a little bit better. He's longer armed than I am, taller than I am. Everything is an easier reach for him. A little bit more grumpy. So I think they're both just as fast. It's just that this one's so much smoother in its delivery and the suspension and the brakes that it feels comfortable going that fast. It's not going which is some of the things that brought me through the world of Triumph there. I like that. Just a wild on welding feeling where if I'm touring and ripping around through interstates, yeah, I want it soft and compliant. God, that sounds freaking awesome, though. It's got a great boxer tone, but the Thruxton still has a tone that I appreciate as well. The saddle, I like the larger surface area of this and how it's a little harder, but the Thruxton was more narrow in the very front where I ride up on the fuel tank, so that was more comfortable for me. This is my favorite part, though. Brakes, ABS check. ABS is working. So we got ABS coming a little bit earlier because I can't modulate to the ride mode, so that's one thing I'm really going to like. Heated grips, didn't even mention that. I don't have heated grips on the Thruxton. We can add some, but they don't come factory like they do here. Just an overall beautiful motorcycle with more tank presentation that makes me feel more confident. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's part of it. I think it introduces down to the shaft drive. I think that's our primary big difference. So we're going to ride this beast back up into the shop here as soon as we can get through these lights. And wrap up a little video for you to put on the old internet and YouTube channel, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So you guys hit us up and follow us there too. Nathan Jennings, Nate Jennings, you'll find me. Yeah, both of them are, you drop the clutch too fast, they're really aggressive, from gear to gear. So the Thruxton was actually a little bit smoother, being a cable operated clutch, which gives you a little bit more forgiveness when you're just going through the gears like that. So, but damn, I'm gonna get some compliments on this bike going down the street too. I guarantee freaking to you. Still have the super bad classic look, more functional or more character. That's how I'm gonna run this final statement. Comfort or character? I like a machine with character. I like comfort. But ripping around town and commuting, I could get with more character. So for me, I like the Thruxton. I think the Thruxton just has that character. It has inferior brakes, but I can upgrade to an R model and get suspension and brakes and be right on par with that. It's funny how the almost, I hate to say, dumbed down BMW is just as good as the R model Thruxton. Superior to a complementary model here. Price-wise, you're going to find the R model very much where the BMW is, though. So you have an entry level with the Thruxton 1200, then you get a Thruxton 1200R. That's going to be on par with the BMW RnineT Racer. So it's not even a price point now. It's not saying I can spend more money on the BMW, get the more comfortable motorcycle. I can still get the Thruxton R for the same price point. Actually, a little less money. They come out with incentives. Thruxtons are not going to have incentives on them for a while. I don't have a feeling. They're reducing their production down and trying to bring this more unique factor back to the brand. They were putting up too many dealers, putting up too many bikes. Let's get back to a more individual built bike, you know, just something that's going to ride right up in there and see what's happening now. Smell the new of the BMW. The BMW does have one thing that does get me a little crazy. It leans a lot further on the side stand than what the Triumph does, so that's a different feel for sure too. So ride this bad boy right back into the showroom. Put this right in front of you. Watch out here. Let them look at that thing. Bam! Awesome. So, thanks for staying with us as we did a little comparison between the Thruxton and the BMW. Got a little sit down, a little specs to start with. Oh, Brian's there! What's up? Brian Frank Jarlinski! Woo! Yeah, that's my boy. And there's Track Daddy Jeff that we were referring to. That's his BMW RnineT Racer over there. So let's get you guys to come in and ride them yourself and do your own comparison. Now that we're done, we'll check you later.